All right, y'all. So a lot of people have been asking me for tips on how to get better at Gekishin Squadra, what you could do to improve your gameplay, if there's any settings and things like that you should have for the game. And I'm going to basically cover all of that right here. So I hope this helps you guys with starting off the game. If you're new, I've had a lot of hours, not only just in this game, the official release, but in the original Project Multi-Network test, and then the Gekishin Squadron Network test. I have so much time put into this game. And I asked around with a bunch of other players who I think are very good, their kind of thoughts on this, and kind of just compiled a bunch of information I think will be useful for you guys. So I appreciate y'all for watching, and if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. But let's hop right into things. Now, one of the first things I do want to talk about is playing safe, right? So usually, let's say you're at the beginning of a match, you're farming your mobs here, kind of getting everything taken care of, and then now you're going to be able to see the opportunity to take advantage of getting the Supreme Kai here, right? Just showing a little example here. So again, once you're able to kill Supreme Kai, you want to make sure that you're able to get this guy taken care of first and foremost. However, at the same time, you will see that there will be two other enemies available to go ahead and, battle, essentially, right? So the first thing I really want to go ahead and put on the spotlight is to play safe. Early game, you really want to try and play safe. Now, there are advantages to going ahead and pushing the enemies sometimes and getting them wiped out. It's possible that you can do that and then you're able to capitalize off of that, but it could very easily happen to you as well, especially if you're an attacker and you're a little more squishy like Trunks here. So the reason why I think you want to play safe is because you want to focus on farming your mobs, or like the Frieza soldier up here, the Cell Juniors on the bottom lane, as quickly as possible, which is why you see I'm not even trying to engage with the enemy directly. I'm focusing on getting the farm because I want to make sure that I'm able to gain a level advantage against the enemies. Having even just one level advantage is very important here. And you see now I'm leveled up right here, right? At this minute, I can't find my mouse cursor specifically. Now we have a level advantage. The Zeno is pushed over to their side, and we could start actually getting them down here, because not only do I personally have a level advantage here, but they are not able to heal. This would be a decent time when you are able to push. Sometimes the Zeno will be on your side, and in that case, you don't want to push, because let's say, for example, if we did push earlier and we lost health, but then Zeno came over to our side, we wouldn't be able to heal close by. We would potentially have to abandon Zeno in order to heal, or we'll just be straight up killed. And essentially that will lead to damage to our god of destruction and things like that. And that kind of is what happened here. I mean, we're able to do, if it actually wants to load the image, we're able to do quite a decent amount of damage to their Zeno right there. In fact, I think we actually just straight up killed Champa, just frame one, which is very disgusting. You don't want that to happen to you, and that will not happen if you're playing safe and you're just focusing on farming mobs. Because if you keep fighting, especially without being able to heal under your god of destruction, you're in a very, very tough spot, right? And it's also nice because if you rush back and they do push against you, you'll be able to heal under your god of destruction early in the game before Xenos come around, and then you'll be able to push back at them, because they would have lost HP if they're pushing against you, but you would have healed there. So now they're playing into your hands and you have the health advantage, which could lead you to very easily win that first interaction. And at that point, whoever dies in that first interaction, if anyone does die at all, you'll be able to steal the other team's farm and then gain a further level advantage. You want to make sure you try and keep that advantage in level, because that is just, it makes it very hard for the enemy to go ahead and keep up, because this game is very heavy on snowballing. So that's why I would say it's safe to play safe right here. or I say safe to play safe, but it's smart to play safe, right? I want to show you an example of when, you know, pushing in necessarily does not actually work here. And it happens in this match. We got a little greedy, right? Sometimes you get a little greedy. You want to go ahead and get that sweet, sweet kill. You're just having fun. But if you want to actually get the wins, you don't want to necessarily keep pushing in, because even though we got the Supreme Kai, we saw Trunks here. Trunks was very low HP. He's a squishy. We were like, okay, I think we might be able to kill him. Frieza came in. Frieza's really good at, you know, stopping people from pushing in. You see how Trunks went back and forth. He kept healing under his God of Destruction. We weren't able to necessarily get that kill on Trunks right there. Now Frieza ended up killing me because I kept pushing, and now Trunks is left by himself, and now they're stealing the farm on our side. So they started to get a level advantage. You can't really see here, but they started to get a little bit of level advantage. So level 4 right here, and I'm level 4 here because I got the Supreme Kai, but at the very least they're able to get on the same level with us, and we could have kept that advantage if we didn't just try to push in like that. It could be even worse in the future. I mean, you saw how we killed that Champa. So depending, you don't want to kind of play into your enemy's hand like that. You want to make sure that you're always just watching from afar, in a sense, and just making sure that you're focused on what you need to do, which arguably one of the most important things to do, if not the most important thing to do early game, is to just keep farming. You want to focus on doing that. That's very important. So the next thing I want to talk about is making sure you're able to get secures. Getting secures is very, very important in this game, because you want to make sure you are not guaranteed killing like Supreme Kai or the objectives around the map, but you want to give yourself the best chance to do so, and that's what having what a secure is called around 4. So a secure is basically just a move that will let you kill the enemy, right? Very, very easy. You want to make sure that you save your skills or have your skill cooldown around, just so that you're able to make sure you're able to, let's say, knock out Supreme Kai here. Again, we see he's very low at this point. I could use the Kamehameha, make sure I get that final burst of damage to kill him. Or even, you know, against these mobs here, just as a little example, we see they're low enough HP, bam, I kill him right there. Make sure I do get the XP. Again, getting XP in this game is very, very important. And the biggest important thing I would say when it comes to this is having the ability to secure a kill against, let's say, one of the objectives like Nappa, Android 16, Brienne, Jacko, all 4 of those enemies. You want to make sure you have the secure against them as well, because if you get 3 of those enemies across the map, you do get both Zenos for a short period of time, which could push the game much in your advantage, if not already. Or vice versa, if the enemy gets 3 of them, it could push it for you to be at a disadvantage. So you want to make sure that you have that secure to guaranteed kill. And I'm sure, you know, once you play the game a little bit, you will recognize that. But I know a lot of players are focused on the fights, right? You know, fighting the other enemies, but you want to make sure that you're actually getting the objectives, which in my opinion are the most important things. There's also the Golden Cell Junior rule, where you see around the map sometimes Golden Cell Juniors will farm or will spawn around for you to farm. And those give a huge amount of XP. They can spawn randomly. Hopefully they do change that. And in that case, you also want to focus on them as well. So there's multiple things across the map that you want to at least bring your attention to the most over fighting. And I would only recommend, like I said in the first point, fighting if you really have to. But anyways, let me just skip ahead a little bit just so I can show you guys, like, just killing Nappa, right? So we see right here, I'm slowly killing Nappa, wheeling him down, kind of avoiding the Cyberman right here. So we see right here, Nappa is about a third of his health bar. I believe this is not enough for even the Spirit Bomb to necessarily kill here. And I just want to show it because if you barely don't kill Nappa, this gives your enemies an opportunity to snipe. So you want to make sure that you know what damage your move does, and we'll kind of look at that later so you can get a good idea. But you don't want to leave your enemy in a spot like this, because if you do, or your objective in a spot like this, if you do, that could allow your enemy to, let's say I'm Goku and as an enemy hero, to swoop in. Oop. Oh, now I stole your Nappa. Or maybe both of you guys throw Spirit Bomb at the same time and I steal the Nappa. Vice versa, sometimes your opponent can get a little antsy in the pantsy, and then kind of, I don't know why I said that. It can allow them to open it up for you to steal it, which has happened to me before as when I play Krillin or any other character. So sometimes, you know, if you want to poke around a little and kind of try to steal Nappa and let them do most of the dirty work, you can definitely do that. I would also recommend whenever an objective like that shows up, you ideally want to go ahead and have your allies go down, or at least have 3 characters down that are on your side, to go ahead and help you make sure you confirm Nappa, because having as many secures as possible will be very helpful. And if you do want to do that, let's say you see Android 16s up here, I'm not sure exactly what it would be on controller, but I know on keyboard here you can see the button that you need to click to go ahead and click on the map. So I'm able to just do this and then click on the mini map right here, and then I could alert, oh hey guys, 16 is up there. We want to make sure that we go get 16. And you want to always make sure that you don't leave your Zenon completely unguarded, which is why I say only 3. But if you see all 4 of your enemies at top, you could pretty safely also just bring all 4 of your allies on top, right? So either way, it's just kind of paying attention to the map, paying attention to what's going on around here, and that should allow you to hopefully get these objectives. Again, it's not a guarantee or anything, but you just want to make sure that you're able to successfully get those. That will help you benefit with actually winning and changing the tide of battle in game if you need to. So hope that helps. All right, so this next one is a setting that I want everyone to change as soon as possible once you're even just a little bit accustomed to the game, because this is something that you will want to do to improve your gameplay as well, and that is the manual setting for learning skills and the manual setting for acquiring the different divine cards. So we'll talk about exactly what the divine cards are in a bit, but I'm sure you all know what the skills are. Let's say Goku has the Kamehameha, the smash attack, and then Kaioken, for example. You're actually able to select which of those that you want first, or to focus on leveling up to max level 3. And the reason why this is important is because many characters will want different levels for their characters. And I will actually link in the description below the level order video made by EisenDB, one of the best players in Gekishin Squadra, for every single character. That that guy just knows the ins and outs of most characters. I'd recommend checking him out. So if you want to know what skills you want to go ahead and focus on leveling up first, I highly recommend watching that video. He will give kind of in-depth explanations of what to do for each of them, and if you have any questions, you could always ask him as well. But you're able to do this by loading into a match. So you have to unfortunately load into a match here, which is why I'm not doing it currently. And you will want to go ahead and just select this bar under the name, and you're gonna see a little tab that pops up that'll let you change it from auto to manual, or vice versa if you really want to, I guess. But you do benefit quite a lot from having manual for these skills. And then you just have to select the skill that you want to level up during the match, because it'll focus on getting you all skills first, or like going down the line like 1, 2, and 3, compared to making sure that you're able to get the most important skills for your playstyle personally, or whatever recommendation there is for a certain character. So this is gonna massively improve what you're able to do. And I talked about earlier with secures, now you're able to focus on getting some of those skills that will allow you to secure kills on, like, let's say the Supreme Kai, or whatever you want to secure on, right? It'll be very, very important there. And I want to actually go ahead and switch back over and show you guys again the divine draw card combo list, or the divine combo card list, my bad. Divine draw is this right here, just a completely separate thing. Now I did make a video talking about which ones are best to select, but instead of just it giving you lightning swift or just the automatic kind of cards for you, you're able to select which ones you want now, which will be very important. You will get these during certain times in battle, the more like mobs you farm and things like that. And you want to make sure that you're again getting these cards, because they're very, very important for what you're able to do. And usually for attackers, they might just give you full attack cards, but some characters may want limit breaking jump. Sometimes maybe you want to try the backstab card, right? I think there's many different scenarios and customization that you could select for these cards. You know, even getting the solid barrier could be really useful for a lot of even attacker characters, kind of protecting you from getting sniped. Things like this could really help your gameplay and your survivability that you wouldn't have otherwise if you have it set to auto. So I will also have my video on the divine combo cards and the explanation for what they do in the pinned comment below, along with Aizen's video. So I recommend checking both of those out if you want like a further in-depth explanation for how these all work, because otherwise this video would be very, very long, and I want to make sure I keep it at least a little bit condensed for y'all, because I could talk days on days about Gekishin. So, and one last thing I do want to add is that you don't have to necessarily select all attack cards for an attacker or all defense cards for a defense character. Certain characters you may be fine with actually giving them other cards. Like a lot of characters could actually use the snowball card that you get from killing an enemy hero or getting an assist, such as Krillin or even Caulifla as a tank, right? Maybe some characters you'll go ahead and get the limit breaking jump that I talked about earlier, like even Super Saiyan Goku or other characters could utilize this, right? That don't have to be a technical blue character. So that's just kind of the last thing I want to point out there. So the next thing I want to point out is to utilize training mode and adjust your game setting. We'll take a look at the game settings first. You're able to get this by going to the 3 bars right here at the top left, and then go into settings right here under the customize button, and go to either controller or mouse and keyboard depending on what you're doing. Now I haven't changed a decent amount of these because it's kind of whatever for the most part. You could change them as you want, but I think one of the most important things to do is the rush attack settings. So a lot of times people may be trying to target a certain enemy and it doesn't actually allow them to do so, or it changes targets and you just get really annoyed. That is something that you could actually help and adjust here. So for example, lock to target settings for continuous rush attacks. So if it's on, you will keep attacking the initial target that you're actually targeting at first. If it's off, you could change the target based on priority level. I have this off because lock on could be very annoying. I want to make sure I have the flexibility, because I did say this earlier, but you don't always want to just go for the kill. Sometimes you just maybe want to push enemies back and then continue to farm. So if you have this on, you'll continue to attack the enemy, and maybe sometimes you just want to just let them go, right? That's fine. Just continue stealing their farm, right? Prioritize all except enemy NPC. I do have this on because I think that when it comes to especially later game though, even though I want to specifically not lock onto the target, I don't want the enemy NPCs to get in my way of killing in certain situations, and even then this could happen sometimes, right? And this right here, priority conditions, you could select which one you want. So for me on mouse and keyboard, I have closest to cursor. This is just, whatever my cursor is selected on the screen, the rush attacks will prioritize those targets. So you just need to make sure that you aim for it, because if you have any of these selected like nearest, sometimes you're going to be attacking a mob or something else rather than the enemy you're trying to attack. Or if another enemy pops up, you'll start targeting them. That's going to be really annoying. Rush attack hold, this kind of is depending on what you want. And again, there's a bunch of settings in here. Some people may even like to change the skill 2 to skill 3 if you're on mouse and keyboard from shift, right? This can help you out quite a bit in making sure that you're not attacking the wrong enemies that you don't want to attack. And again, it's very similar with controller. A lot of these have this semi-auto is actually, from what I understand, pretty decent, because you can continue using rush attacks after an input, and then during this you're able to actually use skills during this. So like there's some controller shenanigans you are actually able to do. So I would recommend testing them out, and I can show you where you can test all this out as well. But just look through these, see what you want to select. And again, you do have the same kind of auto aim settings for like priority conditions for just rush attacks in general, things like that, even dead zones, right? So I heavily recommend just adjusting these if you haven't already, because it could lead to you having a successful win against a standoff against any enemies. Then secondly, you saw me use this a little bit earlier, but training mode. So if you select on any character that you own, you're actually able to train with them. And again, keep in mind, you're not able to do this on characters you don't own. So that is really, really important to consider. But any character that you do own, I believe, and I'm not sure if trial characters do count for this, my apologies, but you're able to go ahead and train with them. And you see here, you're able to select, what you want, such as the battle helpers, the allied heroes. You could select, between Vegeta, Dabura, etc. Or here with your enemy heroes, depending on what you're kind of trying to help with. So like, let's say, oh, I'm trying to test against a Cooler or a tank, or I say Cooler, but I click Cell. Like Cooler right here, or Cauliflo, or Trunks. I want to see what kind of damage I could do in certain situations. You can kind of select between two different options. There's the special training stage here that you're able to just kind of have this normal map, just, the enemy will be over here. You may see a lot of people on Twitter post clips about this on the stage. You may be wondering, well, where's this at, right? This is where it's at, right? And you're able to just kind of test whatever you want. If you select the tab button up here, you're able to change a bunch of different things. So the level that you're at, the level that the allies are at, the enemy heroes at, you're able to select, or check all your different abilities here. See these abilities right now, and just a lot of things will be very important for you to test stuff out. So even like with the divine combo cards, let's say, let me get myself to level 10. We'll go ahead and get the enemy NPC to level 10 right here. Then we'll also make sure I have, let's say I want infinite vanishing step, infinite divine combo cards, and then a reduced cooldown for all my things. We'll select, my bad, I should have selected confirm for that, but let's just go ahead and get myself to level 10 here, and then do this. We confirm it. You see I'm all the way now level 10. I could go ahead and select all the divine cards that I want. So like, let's say I just want Snowball, I want Giant Slayer, and then I want like kind of like this. I'm just like testing out a bunch of things. I'm able to max out my Spirit Bomb almost, level 2 since I'm level 10. Things like that, and Vegeta will spawn back in after a little bit of time. So you get to do a bunch of things. Maybe you want to see what happens if Vegeta is like level 15 or 12 or something here, and you're only level 11. Like, how much damage does my maxed out Spirit Bomb actually do after a certain point, or how much damage could my skills do at a certain point? So like, let's do this. You can kind of see exactly what damage you want from each character and things like that. So just kind of test things around, and again, you're able to end training here by selecting tab and end training. And again, you're also able to do the Gekishin rules, which I showed off earlier. If you want an actual like look in a game, if you want to test out, okay, how far ahead could I actually, kill Nappa or snipe Nappa, you're able to also fast forward things. If you go all the way down here, you're able to see fast forward is on, and basically the match will continue to fast forward for you. This is an interesting thing because you actually can't move during this, but again, you're able to adjust your level, and if you want to turn off fast forward, you could just confirm it. And now you see, now the Zeno's already here, we're already a minute in. So if you want to get to a certain part of the actual like gameplay, you are able to do this here. So that's something to keep in mind. But training mode could be very, very important unless you just want to test certain characters. You want to see what combinations work with your skills. You want to see what divine combo cards could work with you. Again, all of this will help translate into actual gameplay. So that's why I heavily recommend checking out this training mode, and also, just in general, making sure that you're able to learn what these characters do. Very, very important. So this last thing is something I didn't even know until last week in terms of it being in the game, and I don't recall if this was in the network test, but this is actually a game guide. So you may be wondering what certain skills do. For example, a lot of us were like, okay, we know Caulifla has the provoke status, but there's not a way to actually see what this does. We just know, damage taken introduced from enemies who are provoked, but it's a provoke status, that's a status. How exactly does it work? We see that it's able to target enemies towards you, and unless you're really playing the game a long time, you might not even necessarily figure out what it does. But this is where being able to look at this right here, the game guide, is very important. And there's a lot of information stored in here that you may not even be aware of in terms of how the game works. So you're able to get to this by selecting the menu and then go to the game guide under customize. A lot of you guys may have seen this. There's a lot of basic stuff in here in terms of how, you know, the game works, how skills work, etc. If you haven't read this, I would just recommend just taking a quick look here. But at the very bottom, we're able to see things that are really, you know, not explained too much in terms of looking at characters kits. Let's take a look at smoke. Smoke is something that Krillin and Trunks, for example, do have, like Trunks' burning attack. We know that it does affect the field of view, but we could see that this, what exactly the wording of this is. So if you enter smoke created by an ally, it'll hide you from the enemy like you're in bushes. And then if it's created by the enemy, your field of view will narrow, right? And again, that's something that you figure out when you're playing the game, but it's not necessarily explained to you well. Like again, we go ahead and look at Trunks' kit, for example. Trunks does have, again, the burning attack, creates smoke and impact, but if you're just reading the kit here, you don't necessarily see this until you're actually affected by it. And I think that what they should do is they should allow you to click on some of these like abilities like smoke or Caulifla's like kind of other abilities like provoked, and then if you click on that, it pops up the description from this game guide so that you don't necessarily have to walk through all of this and kind of see how that works, right? We see there's obstructions that restrict the enemy's movement or attacks, and they actually do confirm what these do if we go ahead and go down here. So we see the damage dealt effects, damage taken effects, action effects, right? We're able to see, okay, this is high pressure. This is Cooler's ability, I believe. Prevents the use of vanishing step, prevents high speed movement. The only skill based movement is warp. So I believe, again, Cooler is a character that does have the high pressure on his Death Stopper. Yeah, and it's like, otherwise, unless you're the enemy team, or maybe you're not even paying attention that much, you're just not able to really recognize, oh, why can't I escape when I'm, you know, getting hit by Cooler's ability? So anyways, this is just really, really important for you to go ahead and read through. Field of discovery effects, it kind of tells you exactly how things work. Like marked puts one in a permanent state of being discovered, cannot be hidden by bushes. So if you're using Krillin, you could see, oh, you know, enemies can't hide from bushes from me. Blinding as Krillin's, again, the solar flare again as well. I keep saying again over and over. Movement speed up, boost movement speed, etc., etc. Provoked. There's like provoked and wrath, which are very similar to each other, but provoked does force to strike only at certain targets when using a skill or rush attack. So if Khalifa provokes you, your skills and rush attacks only strike at her, while as wrath, which is what Rildo does, it only focuses towards certain targets and continuously will make you use rush attacks. So there's different abilities for this, which is why you really just want to look and read through this. Like again, some of them are obvious, like movement speed down, no skills, but some of them you just don't really know, like high pressure. How are you supposed to know what that does until you actually play it? So just read through all of this, and again, some of this has information that I didn't even know was a thing, right? Again, we could take a look, I believe, at the Xenos. I wonder if there's a way you could choose this. You can actually technically choose where Xenos actually go. So like again, we see here, I think it's, where is it? I swear there's wording here. I'm not sure if it's exactly here, but you're actually able to select where Xena goes, whether up or down, in one of these kind of descriptions here, which again, they don't really tell you about this game guide. Like it's kind of hidden away, which is very silly. But when you get the first hit, you're able to select whether Xeno goes up or down, and that could be like really, really interesting in terms of like where Xeno attacks your enemy first. But either way, I hope all these tips do help you guys out. Some of them are, you know, straightforward in-game technical stuff. Others are just literally telling you how to learn more about the game better depending on your character. Because at the end of the day, many of these characters are very unique. So there's not really too many blanket statements. That's right. And that's why I'm going to continue to go ahead and make some of the guides for these characters and not all the characters. I do want to go ahead and focus on getting those done soon. There's been a lot to do with Gekishin. Super Saiyan 3 Goku comes out later tonight, so we'll be live for that. Just so much to talk about, but I hope you guys did enjoy this. And again, if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. I'll be happy to answer them for you. But that's it for me. I'll catch you guys in the next video, and peace out.